So, yeah, we are part of Transnet. Transnet is a state-owned company that basically reports to the state-owned enterprise, DPE. There are quite a number of divisions. TFR, I see my colleague is over there. We've got Transnet Port Terminal itself, National Ports Authority as part of it, and Pipeline. They are all in there. But the role we play within the port system, we basically are a facilitator of trade movement, basically in terms of global trade, imports and exports, and people always talk about the balance of trade flows. We actually are there, we are at the interface of all of these. And the current situation, if you look at it from South Africa, we are a net importer of goods, which is not good indeed for our economy. And with our finance minister out there to sell South Africa, we need to do our bit as South Africans in making sure that the quality of goods that we import and we export are beyond reproach in terms of safety. Now, just a bit about where we are. We obviously are on the southern tip of Africa. We are equidistant between the east and the west, just on the pendulum swing between Santos as well as China. And the advantage we have is that if you go across the superhighway, you know, moving between Santos and China itself, you're looking at about 26 days. But if you take the same trip on the south to south route, you actually are looking at saving between 3 to 4 days. Now, how's that for reducing cost of business? We definitely are adding value in as far as making sure that shipping lines do not spend too much time in transit, south to south route, free of any forms of piracy, terrorism, and so forth. But back to the business of the day. I think my colleagues have done a sterling job in laying the foundation. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that. Rather, let me invest time in answering some of the frequently asked questions. Notwithstanding the fact that the shipper is responsible for providing VGM, why can't TPT weigh containers and provide VGM using load cells on the port systems for handling packages? And the answer to that is very simple. The equipments that we own are currently used for safety purposes. We want to make sure that we do not load anything that is in excess beyond what is declared. From a regulatory point of view, NRCS is there to basically provide the necessary guidelines, and SAMSA are there to make sure that people who've been verified to do that work are indeed given that opportunity to do so. Fundamentally, the weighing of the port or at the port will contradict the push for weight to be determined at source. Remember, VGM basically says it has to be verified at source, not in transit, not at the port itself. The second question, what about the submission of VGM for transshipment containers? You will recall that transshipment containers are footloose and they come to the port having been from a port of origin. Now, that VGM will have to be confirmed by that port of loading itself. By the time it comes to our shores, that VGM should be confirmed, and we will be taking it as part of passing the document as verification that indeed it has been done. If you look at the next question, how will TPT keep its customers involved in the process? We've started very inclusively so, an approach where we conduct EDI forums, the electronic data interchange forums with customer representatives in order to prepare for the implementation phase. The implementation is on the 1st of July. And as part of making sure that we come to the party, we've extended our stake dates on the last day of June to make sure that we accommodate all containers that will be going through. But above all, we have to make sure that we comply. There's nothing new at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen. How will TPT manage customers' participation in the process of developing and testing EDI solution? We recognize the fact that the structure of some of the EDI messages have changed. So in order to accommodate the requirements of Solas, all of us will have to lend a hand. TPT will reconvene the EDI forums to manage the process of an operational and technical level. The existing process for EDI testing remains, and customers are welcome to engage our IT department in order to facilitate the testing of EDI messages. We've started this process, and we've got a big forum meeting on the 31st of March in order to make sure that we clear out any queries that could be there. How will TPT facilitate the submission of the VGM? The existing pre-advice fields will be amended, and new fields will be developed to container exporters. So the fields will be mandatory and will be aligned to the existing pre-advice processes. Who will enforce the legislation? I think our colleague Kirsten has already done a sterling job. SAMSA will be making sure that they enforce this compliance. But let's bear in mind, ladies and gentlemen, nobody should play a police person. All of us have to operate and do good in our business. And our business so far has been beyond reproach, barring what Malta has said. When you actually try to circumvent the regulatory system, you're not doing yourself any good. You're harming the reputation of the industry. And let's do our part in promoting the integrity of the South African business. How will TPT implement Solas? Through our Nevis traffic management system, we have undertaken to provide an international Solas compliant version, which is 2.6, within the legislated deadline framework. So during March, the testing process will be planned, and this will be communicated in the EDI forum that will be held. Will TPT support the proposed Vermas message type? Of course we will. TPT will discuss the implementation of Vermas with customers at the EDI forum once the existing EDI solution has been implemented to comply on the 1st of July 2016 deadline. In conclusion, Anton, let me say, ladies and gentlemen, this is a call to war to all of us, that we have to claim our position in the international space. South Africa is highly reputed in terms of its capability to be able to lend, to lend very good products into Africa, as well as importing safe. Let us be able to uphold our reputation going forward. Trying to bring in unverified information through the containers or even break bulk load that you bring to the port, or that is finally uplifted onto the vessel, is no good to anybody. Remember, this is an old age industry. So think of our forebears who've had to do their responsibility to hand over this business to us. We have the same obligation to do same to our own generations to come. Thank you very much.